Welcome to this video on percentages and ratios. We will explore how to master proportional reasoning, which is essential for understanding discounts, interest, mixing, and data analysis in everyday life, whether you are a student or a professional. In this video, you will learn to read and convert between fractions, decimals, and percentages, calculate quantities, split values into specific ratios, and avoid common mathematical traps. Percentages and ratios are universal tools for describing parts of a whole. They are used daily in finance, retail, tax, science, engineering, and data analysis. This video is divided into two parts. Part 1 covers all aspects of percentages, while Part 2 focuses on ratios and how to use them for scaling and mixtures. Let us begin with Part 1, percentages. Simply put, a percentage is a fraction with a denominator of 100, providing a common scale to make comparisons straightforward. The term percent literally means per hundred. The symbol percent is shorthand for dividing by 100. Every percentage is essentially a fraction out of 100. When a fraction already has a denominator of 100, converting to a percentage is easy. Simply take the numerator. 19 over 100 becomes 19%, and 35 over 100 becomes 35%. If the denominator is not 100, you can scale the fraction up or down. To convert 2/5, multiply the top and bottom by 20 to get 40 over 100, which equals 40%. Alternatively, you can multiply the fraction by 100. For 2/5, 2 divided by 5 times 100 equals 40, giving you 40%. This is a reliable method for any fraction. Let us look at 5/8. Multiply 5/8 by 100 to get 500 divided by 8, which equals 62.5. So 5/8 is 62.5%. Percentages make comparing different values simple. By converting 13 out of 17 and 14 out of 19 into percentages, we can easily see that 76.5% is greater than 73.7%. Converting to percentages eliminates the difficulty of comparing different denominators, allowing for instant and clear ranking without needing further arithmetic. You can also express values as decimals. To turn 30% into a decimal, divide 30 by 100 to get 0.3. Percentages, fractions, and decimals are just different ways to write the same value. Memorizing common conversions like 25% being 1/4 or 50% being 1/2 makes mental arithmetic much faster and more efficient. Finally, remember that the word of in mathematics usually means multiply. To find a percentage of a quantity, divide the percentage by 100 and then multiply by the total quantity. Let's apply that rule. To calculate 27% of 90, multiply 27 over 100 by 90. This simplifies to 27 times 0.9, giving a result of 24.3 units. Understanding 100% is crucial. It always represents the whole amount. So 100% of any number is simply the number itself. You can see how this scales from nothing at 0% to double at 200%. When dealing with a percentage increase, find the percentage of the original amount first, then add it back to the original. For a 9% increase on 750 pounds, adding 67 pounds and 50 pence results in 817 pounds and 50 pence. Alternatively, use a multiplier for efficiency. Since an increase of 9% results in 109% of the total, you can simply multiply by 1.09 in one step to get 817 pounds and 50 pence. For percentage decreases, like a discount, you can subtract the discount from the original. A 10% discount on 315 pounds is 31 pounds and 50 pence, leaving 283 pounds and 50 pence. Or just multiply by 0.90 to pay 90% of the price directly. The multiplier method is a professional standard for interest, growth, and price changes. For an increase of p%, multiply by 1 plus p over 100. For a decrease, multiply by 1 minus p over 100. Percentages are vital in the workplace. Whether you are calculating interest on savings, discounting retail prices, adding tax to a bill, determining pay rises, or tracking revenue growth, these tools are indispensable. Most calculators feature a percentage key, but be cautious as behavior varies by model. Always verify your calculator's logic with a known value, or use simple mental math anchors like 1%, 10%, and 5% to build up to the answer. Take a moment to practice. Pause the video and solve these 6 problems to test your understanding of percentages, from simple calculations to percentage increases and decreases. Now we transition to part 2, ratios. A ratio is another way of expressing a fraction, a recipe for sharing a quantity. It is essentially the same math viewed through a different lens. Think of a ratio as sharing parts of a whole. If you split 200 pounds between Anne and Bill in a 7:3 ratio, Anne gets 7 parts and Bill gets 3. Remember, order is critical here. To work with a ratio, first add the parts to find the total. A 7:3 ratio means there are 10 equal parts in total. Consequently, Anne receives 7/10 and Bill receives 3/10 of the total. The general rule for dividing a quantity in a ratio is simple. Add the terms to get the total parts, divide the quantity by that sum to find the value of one part, then multiply by each share. Let's divide 170 in a 3:2 ratio. Adding the parts gives 5. Dividing 170 by 5 gives 34 per part. 3 parts equal 102 and 2 parts equal 68. Combined, they return to 170. In summary, to divide a quantity in the ratio m to n, split it into m plus n equal parts. The shares are simply fractions of the whole, and they will always sum back to the original quantity. A 3-part ratio works exactly the same way as a 2-part ratio. For example, to divide 250 centimeters in a 1:3:4 ratio, first add the parts. 1 plus 3 plus 4 equals 8. Each share is its number of parts multiplied by the value of one part. Equivalent ratios maintain the same proportion even when the numbers change. Just like fractions, you can multiply or divide every term by the same number. If you multiply both sides of 3:2 by 2, you get 6:4. Both represent the same relative proportion. You can scale ratios up or down. Scaling up is useful for expanding recipes or mixtures by multiplying each term. Simplifying down involves dividing terms by their highest common factor to express the ratio in its clearest, lowest whole number form. When a ratio contains fractions, clear them first by multiplying every term by the least common multiple of the denominators. This converts the ratio into simpler whole numbers, making the subsequent steps for sharing or scaling much easier to manage. The same logic applies to decimals. To clear decimals from a ratio, multiply every term by a power of 10, like 10 or 100, until you are left with only whole numbers. This keeps the underlying proportion consistent while making the math more intuitive. Sometimes ratio problems involve percentages. Bell metal is a classic example, where a copper and tin mix is defined by a ratio. By converting that ratio into a fraction and then a percentage, you can quickly find the mass of each component. Ratios and percentages tell the same story about proportions. You can convert a ratio part into a fraction and then into a percentage. Conversely, if you know a value and its percentage, the 1% method lets you find the whole. Ratios are everywhere in the real world. From cooking recipes and chemical alloys in industry to financial splits between partners, navigation maps, and the screen aspect ratios on your devices, proportional reasoning is essential for accuracy in these fields. It is time for more practice. Here are 6 ratio problems. Apply the 3-step method, summing parts, finding the value of one part, and multiplying through. Then check your answers against the provided solutions. Avoid common pitfalls. Remember that percentages can shift their base, and always sum all parts before dividing a ratio. Also, ensure you clear fractions before starting calculations, and distinguish carefully between percentage points and percentage change. If you are unsure which tool to use, follow this guide. If the question asks for a percent or a fraction of a whole, use the percentage route. If it asks to split or share a quantity, follow the ratio route. This quick reference sheet summarizes the 5 core percentage moves we have discussed, from converting fractions to calculating percentage increases or decreases. Keep these templates handy for quick solving. Similarly, here is your ratio toolkit. These 4 steps, finding total parts, calculating the value of one part, applying it to each share, and clearing fractions, cover nearly every ratio scenario you will encounter. Here is a final test set for you. A mix of percentage and ratio challenges designed to cement your skills. Take your time, work methodically, and use the answer key as a benchmark for your progress. In summary, percentages are fractions of 100. Of usually means multiply, and ratios represent parts of a whole. Whether you are using the 1% method or scaling shares, these tools will help you reason through any proportional problem.